Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you from our another home away from home, Inmar Intelligence headquarters here in Winston-Salem, downtown in the Innovation Quarter, and we thank David Mounts and his team for letting us be here today. Later on, the roundtable will show up and get into all sorts of controversies between now and then. Lots of great information and guests coming your way. We'll talk about voter registration on a campus and much, much more, including a look at what's up with Say Yes to Education in Guilford. Speaking of education, that's where we're going to start this. Two very special guests. On my immediate right, Nancy Cross is Director of Career and Technical Education at Guilford County Schools and wears many other hats, and we welcome you. And speaking of wearing a lot of hats and a lot of responsibility, Atticus Simpson is with us, our good friend, Director of Community Engagement and Government Affairs with Triad Federal Credit Union. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks for bringing Nancy with you.
Oh, our pleasure.
Atticus, I'm going to start with you. Why are financial education and career development so important to Truliant, and how are the two connected?
Sure, thanks, Jim. That's a great question. And those two areas are really critical to our mission at Truliant to improve the lives of our members and the communities that we serve. And so without those two things, it would make it very difficult for us to improve the lives of our members. But financial wellness is one of those focus areas as it relates to the investments that we make in our communities, whether that's through sponsorships or philanthropic activity. And so providing financial education, whether it's through seminars or webinars or the one-on-one financial counseling that we provide to our members, that's really critical to what we can do from a financial education standpoint.
And you talk about members and all these great things you're doing, but since we have Nancy sitting between us, Atticus, give me an example of how you support financial education and career development.
Sure, absolutely. So we try to do that through some of those same things that I mentioned, whether they're webinars or seminars, but we try to work with the school systems and have partnerships. So we're doing some of those webinars and seminars, or we even try to do some guest speaking when we come in to some of the career days and help students understand how important finances are to not only where they are today, but where they are going to be tomorrow. It's such a soft skill, financial literacy is, for students. And some of these students who are coming out of the apprenticeship programs, for example, are going to be making really good money. And so a lot of those folks will want to go out and buy a truck or whatever, which is fine, but we would like to work with those folks to make sure that they understand what a credit score is and how to buy a truck in a way that you can sustain. Right.
And Nancy, what does career development look like in Guilford County schools? Sort of paint a picture for me.
So in Guilford County, our vision is that we begin very early to help students earn high wage, high skill, and in-demand jobs. And that actually begins in pre-K with our students being inspired about what future careers they might have.
In pre-K?
In pre-K, and then in elementary school, we continue that trajectory by career awareness activities for elementary school students, and then in middle school, we move to exploration, and that's the first time students can actually take career and technical education courses. And then in high school, that trajectory continues with students getting the preparation that they need to either engage in employment directly after school or to continue with post-secondary educational opportunities. I
had no idea that you were starting at that early, because when I was like in first grade, I was just worried about, glue and crayons. I don't want to get into that. Now, why is it important, Nancy, for students, especially as they get older in the high school level, to really understand how to be self-sufficient? I mean, maybe, I'm not saying this happens, but maybe they've got busy in their other interests, and maybe they don't appreciate what you and Atticus are talking about right now, but they will. I mean, why is it important?
So it's important for students at an early age to start thinking about their future and thinking about their financial security, and exactly as Atticus mentioned, making sure that students understand how to be wise consumers and wise investors, and it will contribute to their quality of life.
We have a couple seconds left. Nancy, why is it important to have a partner like Truliant?
So Truliant's been an excellent partner to the Guilford County Schools. They help support through grant opportunities and have supported students being able to participate in career and technical student organizations. They support our signature career academies. We have 5 across our district.
Wow.
And those are at Kearns and at Northeast. They are both focused on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence.
That's great.
And those signature career academies across the entire county help students think about financial literacy and security.
Well, we need to give Atticus and Todd Hall and everybody some awards for some of this. I just think that's great, guys. Up on screen, I want to make sure we get this up there for the schools, gcsnc.com for general information. And I hope you go to the TrueLiant website as well, just to find out all the great things they're doing, the services they provide, TrueLiantFCU.org. Atticus and Nancy, thanks so much, Atticus especially, for making all this happen.
It's our pleasure, and I would be remiss by not mentioning our financial education grant program that's going to be open on October 15th, and that is for students or for teachers in 6th through 12th grade who are looking to incorporate financial education into their curriculum, and we will award up to $5,000 grants. And that's something that we're really proud of doing and look forward to doing more of that.
All right. I appreciate what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Back now on Triad Today. Let's talk about education. Let's talk about scholarships. And there's a man here to help us out with that. And by the way, we were going to have the lovely Wendy Poteet here, who is the CEO of Say Yes Guilford, but she got hung up in a very important conference, and we understand that. But the gentleman that she sent is, we're really interested and excited to meet him. First-time visitor to the show, Warshay Downing, Senior Director of Data and Post-Secondary Success. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You know, this is a data analytics place we're in right now, so that's appropriate for you to be.
I love it.
Yeah. How does the Say Yes scholarship model work? I mean, is there a difference between public and private, and how does it work?
Yes. So first, I'll tell you a little bit more about Say Yes Guilford. Our mission is to provide access to support services and scholarships designed to support Guilford County School students through college, career, and life. And so we have two scholarship models, essentially. We have a public university model and a private university scholarship model. And it's based upon our last dollar scholarship principle. So for the public university model, it is based upon continuous enrollment in Guilford County schools, income cap, so it's based upon income categories, but also the tuition ban. So for example, if a student's we look at the student's federal Pell Grant amount, state aid, and institutional aid. We subtract that from the cost of tuition to determine what the student is eligible for the public university model. And then for our private university model, we partner with various over 100 private universities across the country, including some of our very own in North Carolina, Wake Forest, Greensboro College, Guilford College, High Point. And so what happens is it's based upon a $75,000 income threshold. If family income is under $75,000, then that student's full tuition and select fees are covered by that university.
That's great. Now, when and how can parents sign up or get the student interested in this?
Right.
Does the student wait until he or she is a senior or a junior,
Right.
or what happens?
Students have to apply their senior year, so it opened October 1st of their senior year, so a few days ago.
Right.
And they have until June 1st of their senior year to actually complete their application online at sayyesguilford.org. There was one area I wanted to add about the private university, and then if a family income is above $75,000, then they could qualify for a $5,000 choice grant. So that's our public and private university scholarship model, but students can register online, sayyesguilford.org, and they can learn more details about our scholarship, and the application takes less than 5 minutes to complete.
Wow, and they've got till June to make sure they get that in.
Absolutely.
Do you have a feeling if, I know that trying to get a handle on some of these statistics, you may not have right at your fingertips, but the kids that get these scholarships, do they tend to go on and complete their college education?
Yes. We've actually just graduated our first 4-year graduating class in 2020. And so we are constantly getting data in from the universities, but we're also waiting on the clearinghouse data. But we know that 75% of our students are continuing their college education that actually start college. And so we are excited to be able to release very soon our graduation data of our scholars. And we are very proud of our scholars who are doing great things across North Carolina, but across the country. So we're very proud of them.
Yeah, you and Wendy will have to bring some of those scholars with you to the show sometime.
We would love to.
We can meet them. Now, there's an annual meeting, I'm going to call it a breakfast or a meeting on November 13th, and now it's going virtual. What are you going to do at that meeting?
So at the Say Yes to Impact breakfast, and stay tuned, it may be a different name, but at that particular impact, it's going to be outlining all of the phenomenal things that Say Yes Guilford and our community partners have partnered with and done over the past 12 months.
November 13th.
November 13th.
So let's look for that and plan for that. And also, folks, let me just say, I want to brag on this organization. Say Yes Guilford does great work. Wendy and everybody, Warshay, you can make donations if you'd like to. Here's the website where you can find out more information about applying for the scholarship, about making donations, etc. SayYesGuilford.org. Say yes, there's 2 Y's there, SayYesGuilford.org. Please do that. Warshay, thanks for coming down, being on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Keep up the good work.
We will.
We'll be right back. On Triad Today, let's talk about voter registration of a different kind that maybe you haven't heard too much about. A special guest who helped put all this together is with us right now. Rob Knox, formerly with ESPN, now Associate Athletic Director of Strategic Communications and many other things at UNCG. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you. Good to be here.
I understand there's been a voter registration drive at my alma mater, UNCG. How did it come about and how's it going?
Well, first of all, we try to make you proud as a UNCG alum. But you know, all credit, honestly, all credit to the voter registration drives goes to Cole Henderson, who works at our student support services department. He drove it, but I think it was a combination. I think it was a combination of things. You know, obviously over the summer we've had a lot of things happen in the country, a lot of social injustice, a lot of racial things. So,
and it's one thing to talk about those issues, and it's another thing to do what you guys did, which is say, okay, let's do something to combat those problems.
Exactly, and so a lot of our student athletes, and they're great young men and women at UNCG, as you know. A lot of our student athletes felt that this was their opportunity to actually make a tangible impact, use their voice, and do something that's going to make a difference.
I want to put you on the spot, though, and maybe you have to get your crystal ball out for this. I know you guys did great with the registration, but how do you know that they'll stay fired up and vote?
Well, if I know our student athletes, I know they'll be voting. I have no doubt that everybody that's registered will actually go into the polls. They are fired up to make significant change and do their part.
Again, we didn't rehearse this, but I mean, what percentage of students signed up and registered to vote? I mean, do you have any idea? Do you have a handle on how well you did with the drive?
Oh, we did well. All of our student athletes that are eligible. Obviously, we have some student athletes that are international that play on different teams. So we had 206 student athletes altogether register.
Wow. And I'm assuming, since some folks don't know that and you do, but a lot of folks maybe don't know that the NCAA has directed that all student athletes be given November 3rd off, so if they haven't already voted, they can vote on that day. I know that you support that decision.
Oh, 100%. I think it's an outstanding decision by the NCAA. And the good thing is, had the NCAA not mandated it, I know our director of athletics, Kim Record, was in the process of making that a mandatory day off, so that we all can focus on the important part of voting.
Kim Record, a fine lady, success story, and I just love her to death.
She's phenomenal to work for.
Isn't she great? Isn't she great? Final question. I want to make this personal. What does it mean to you personally to get all these young people registered to vote?
Well, you know, I think Nelson Mandela said it best, that, you know, sport has the power to inspire and transform, and to be part of that and witness the growth and witness the passion of our student athletes is really special to me. And, you know, obviously I've started at UNCG in May, so I'm continuing to learn our student athletes, but the ones I've had the opportunities to work with and speak with, they've given me so much life, they've given me so much inspiration, and they make me proud. They make me proud of doing what it is that I do for UNCG.
Well, I'm proud of what you're doing too. Up on the screen, I want to make sure people check these websites out, uncgspartans.com, and the general website is uncg.edu. Rob, keep up the good work and let us know how it goes.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate being here.
All right, young man. We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and with a good friend of ours, a good friend of the show, is with me right now to bring us up to speed on what's going on, all things theater in the area, specifically the High Point Theater. Next to me, our good buddy Dave Briggs, Director of High Point Theater. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, Jim. Always a pleasure.
Bring me up to speed, bring all of us up to speed on Governor Cooper's latest order, what effect it's having or has had on events that maybe are scheduled at the High Point Theater from now through December. So to bring me up to speed on that.
Well, I'll try. He came out with a rather confusing executive order last week, where he said that small theaters could host up to 30% of capacity, which for us would be about 320, or 100 people, whichever is fewer. So we automatically drop down to 100, which makes it not viable really to do paid events.
Right.
So I was really hoping that maybe he would come out with 30%, and that would be a wonderful starting point to get us back to some level of normalcy, whatever that's going to be. But no, I'm very disappointed in that. We're going to do some things. We've got an event scheduled in November that's a community orchestra that's in cooperation with High Point University. It's going to be a free event. We want folks to realize they can come to the theater and be comfortable, and if they don't feel comfortable, then they should stay home.
Right, and they can space out.
They
and
can,
do
and we will
social
space
distance,
people out.
Social
and-
distancing. How is this moving into phase 3 as far as the governor's concerned? How is that affecting all entertainment venues, do you think?
Well, all entertainment venues most of them are remaining closed. A few, like Carolina Theater, did an event for 25 people over the weekend. You can't keep people employed that way. You can't pay artists sufficiently to have them come in. So it is, I'm not going to call it the death knell, but it certainly have a lot of folks on life support who are either in the venue industry, the rental industry, or as performers, or as the gig industry. The gig community, those are the folks who supply the labor. So our lighting techs, our sound techs, our riggers, our stage hands, those folks are not paid on they're paid on a contract basis, not on a salary basis.
I know I'm not supposed to make political statements here. I'm not telling people who to vote for or not, but I'm just saying that it concerns me that the governor doesn't seem to understand indoor theater venues and how well prepared you guys are to social distance and require masks and do those things and be ready to go at a moment's notice. It's like he doesn't understand.
It's actually been very disturbing. When we look at other states, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, in some of the other southern states, and even in some of the northern states that have opened up to 50% capacity, at full 50% capacity.
Right.
It's time to crack open the door and let the professionals do their job.
Do you have any crystal ball on what's going to happen between January and May of 2021?
Holy cow. I'd like to think we're going to get to 50 to 75% maybe. It could be that on November 6th, all of this goes away. Who knows?
Right.
And I don't mean to be quite so cynical about that, but that's
Right.
the way it's
Yeah,
happening.
you would hope that politics doesn't enter into
Yeah.
this, but there's things that just seem not very consistent, but that's all I'm going
Right.
to say about it. Finally, what's the best way for folks to learn about what's going on? Because obviously, I could give them your home number, that would drive you crazy. But how can people keep up with this frustration and try to figure out, hey, I've got season tickets, what should I do? Or I'd like to buy season tickets starting in January, what should I do? What do they do?
They can feel free to call our box office between noon to 5, Monday through Friday. We're still there. And our website, we continually try to update that. We have a Facebook page. I don't know that we keep that as up to date as we should, but we're going to have a new marketing person in shortly, and that person I know will be taking care of some of that.
Up on screen, highpointtheater.com is the website. For the radio listening audience, I'll say it again, highpointtheater.com. Box office number is area code 336. It's a local number to this area, 887-3001, 887-3001. Keep up with that. Please call that number. But I think it's okay. Ask about season tickets for next, starting in January. Ask whatever you want. Dave will give you an answer.
Absolutely.
Dave Briggs, thank you. You going to stay around for the roundtable?
Absolutely. Glad to.
All right, we'll be right back. Now on Triad Today, just about time for the roundtable. And before we do that, just hope you'll pick up your copy of Yes Weekly and hope you'll enjoy my column in there. Also, another shout out to David Mounts and his team here, Saul and Shannon and everybody for letting us camp out at Inmar Intelligence in downtown Winston-Salem, a great facility. All right, guys, let's get to it. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Overman, the great broadcaster journalist. We held Dave Briggs, director of High Point Theater, over from his previous segment. Glad he could do that. And Keith Granberry rounding out the group, founder of Helping Hands Consultants, does a lot of great work worldwide. All right, guys, this past week, within the span of one day, we learned that Senator Tom Tillis had contracted COVID-19. Challenger Cal Cunningham admitted to an affair and sexting, and the charges keep mounting on that front. Guys, how will these developments affect the U.S. Senate race in North Carolina? Ogie.
Just another day in paradise, Jim. I don't know. I hate it all. That seat that could swing control of the Senate. I really hope it has no effect at all, and I wish Senator Tillis a speedy recovery also.
Yeah, so you're not going to go out on a limb and say what exact effect you think it'll have? Because I think Cal was up by like 6 points.
Yeah, he had a sizable lead. At one time he was at 10. It's going to cost him a couple of points anyway.
Okay, Dave.
Well, I think John Edwards was persona non grata after his event. I do hope Tom Tillis gets healthy very quickly. I think this will sway the event because, frankly, the people in North Carolina aren't going to put up with people lying to them.
Keith, do you think the women vote will turn on Cal who were going to vote for him, or what's your assessment?
I don't. I think that Tom Tillis getting COVID-19 is going to overrule anything because they're going to match him with Donald Trump. And right now, coronavirus is the main issue in America, period.
So you're thinking that Tom Tillis indirectly or directly mismanaged COVID-19 the same as Trump, and
The campaigns are going to attach him to Donald Trump,
Okay.
and his policies have been attached to it, and that's what they're going to see.
on a similar theme, since we know now the president is still getting over his bout with COVID-19, and we wish him well too, whether you like him or not. North Carolina, of course, is the most important swing state of swing states. Ogie's already alluded to that. So, will undecided voters decide to vote for Trump out of sympathy or reject him for being irresponsible? Ogie.
Well, he had a chance, Jim. He could have lain there in his sick bed and had some kind of an epiphany and reviewed his life and thought, man, but no, in typical Trump fashion, some people are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates, and he's one of them.
Yeah, and Dave Briggs is another one. No, I'm saying. All right, Dave, what do you think?
Well, I think the people who are going to vote for Donald Trump have already made up their mind. They're going to be looking at the record unemployment that there was, his work with historically black colleges and universities. The economy was booming. I think it'll boom back again.
All right, Keith.
I think it's a misnomer that people keep talking about the economy. The last 3 years of Barack Obama's economy was much better than Donald Trump's. The first thing is that it's going to affect him because he had an opportunity. He had a great opportunity to come out and show some remorse about what has happened.
Yeah,
he didn't do that.
All right, guys, a 9-year-old boy in Maryland has been suspended from school because while participating in online learning, his teacher, remotely, noticed a gun in the back of the boy's bedroom. Suspended. Are you guys okay with the suspension, or did the school overreach its authority and violate the boy's privacy? Ogie.
He's at home, he's already suspended. But really, seriously, the kid's parents need to be called in for a conference. They need to be suspended. Something is wrong with that family.
To have that gun
Not
in
the
there.
kid, it's the parents.
Well, I know. Dave.
Well, I think it's a great overreach, but I think it's a lesson for folks who are doing homeschooling. Put a sheet behind your child if they're taking online classes. It's no business of the schools to see what's in that home.
Whether it's clothing or
Exactly.
appliances or anything. Keith.
To have a gun in a kid's room, it's all sorts of wrong. I think it's important that we understand what's in a person's home.
So the
especially
teacher
a kid
did
with a
the
gun.
right. You think the teacher did the right thing by
Absolutely,
okay.
positively.
All right. Speaking of Maryland, in an effort to clean up their shores and oceans, that state has just banned the use of styrofoam containers for transporting carry-out food orders. Now, guys, restaurant owners are furious because, as you well imagine, like it is here, they use styrofoam containers for takeout food, and a lot of them have been closed to indoor dining, so that's been their mainstay, is sending out takeout. Would you like to see North Carolina lawmakers ban styrofoam containers for environmental reasons? Ogie.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to be phased out. I don't think you can say today we have to do it, but over a period of time, styrofoam is on the way out. Yeah.
Think so?
Absolutely. I think we should. There's so many wonderful paper products now that are biodegradable. There's no reason for us to be using styrofoam any longer.
Keith Granberry.
While there's no reason, we know that some people are making a living off this. So you have to figure out how to combine that with the decrease in styrofoam.
Yeah, I mean, this could just put a nail in the coffin of some of these restaurants until they can figure out what to do. Before we get to the last topic, I just want to mention that today is Ogie's birthday, so happy birthday, Ogie. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Jim.
Ogie's 110 years old. A lot of it
Don't remind me.
takes a
In
lot
dog
of
years.
dog year, yeah, that's right. Dog
There's that
year.
whistle.
Takes
That's
a lot of
right,
vitamins.
dog
Okay, finally, guys, robots are now being employed by an increasing number of fast food restaurants. Some robots are used to flip burgers, while others, like at White Castle, use robots to make French fries. Guys, my question to you is, would you like to have your food made by a robot? Ogie Overman.
Like it or not, it's on the way. You might as well get used to it, boys and girls. It's happening. It's going to happen.
Dave Briggs.
It's going to happen, or if you amortize the robot over a period of time, it's a lot less expensive than paying a human.
Keith Granberry, you want your food made by a robot?
Absolutely not. I think
Knew it.
people are, some of my food is already being made by a robot. But I think we need to keep it like New Jersey. New Jersey has a law where you can't pump gas.
Yeah.
We're costing people's jobs.
I know it. I know it.
We got to look at that.
All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. A woman who was pregnant was in flight on the way to Alaska, and she had her baby right in the plane, right in mid-flight. And she named the baby Sky in honor of where he was born. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, said Paris Hilton. Did you like that?
Very clever,
Could have
Jim.
been named Canada.
I was going to say.
Happy birthday, Ogie.
Yeah,
Happy
oh,
birthday,
that's right.
Keith. Thank you,
I was going
Dave.
to say Dakota Fanning. But I all right, for all of us here, Try Today. I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.